All right, and there you have heard what has lasted just about an hour total from our city leaders updating you a day after 5 people were gunned down by a colleague inside Old National Bank in Louisville. Getting a better idea today of what was happening behind the scenes before and after, as you heard from the mayor, U of L hospital staff, and LMPD just giving us an update on where we stand. As you might have heard, a woman inside that board meeting yesterday died at the hospital late last night. She was 57-year-old Deanna Eckert. She marked the 5th victim to lose their life on Monday. An LMPD officer still fighting for his life in the ICU. That's Officer Nicholas Wilt, a rookie cop who had just joined the department 10 days before this. We're also learning the name of Officer Corey Galloway, who was grazed on the left side. He was the field training officer for Officer Wilt, both of who went in and met this gunman face on. You're taking a look at your screen of the 5 people now and their families who are mourning their loss. That grieving process just beginning today. And we do have live coverage continuing here in our noon hour. And as I allow just a little bit more time for our journalists to get set up, I want to just give you a little bit more of what we have learned. We know from U of L's medical director that 4 patients remain at the hospital, 2 in the ICU, including Officer Wilt, who is in critical, another in the ICU, but considered stable. They talked about what we can do right now. If you are someone out there who's wanting to help in some way, they said the number one thing is to give blood. That yesterday they used 170 units of blood, knowing full well that a gunshot victim needs a lot more blood than other people who might come into the ER and the OR. 170 units were used. That pretty much outstripped the hospital of its supply, of its capacity, and the Red Cross immediately stepped in and within 8 hours was able to replenish what the hospital needed to make sure the lives that could be saved were doing so. The mayor talking about the people who were first on scene, the true heroes, not just LMPD, which of course definite kudos to them. They did go in head first. The dispatchers, the federal officers, the U of L hospital staff. They also talked about the faith leaders who throughout the day, the vigils that we've seen, the people who are coming together to help counsel anyone in need over this tragedy. And then also spotlighting our teachers and our parents of both young kids and old, who had to have that tough decision on how to talk with your kids. But again, the main thing here are the 5 people that are no longer here, the people in the hospital that are still fighting for their lives. And one thing I do want to mention too, Jason Smith from U of L, when asked about what they had to do, what they had to change yesterday in regards to a mass shooting, he said they barely had to adjust their ER or OR to make do for what was happening. That's how frequent the area of Louisville is coming under attack with gun violence. So I want to get to our Jim Stratman, who has also been listening to what we just heard from our city leaders and LMPD and talking just about the reaction coming in today. Jim.
Yeah, that's right, Brooke. Obviously, a lot of reaction going on at the conference right there. Reaction from doctors, from city leaders as well. All hearing stuff that we haven't really heard before, kind of going over some of the information that we do know and illuminating us on some of those minor details that we haven't necessarily heard at this point. We've also been able to get some reaction from people down here around the area of the Old National Bank building. You can see behind me, they've turned this area really into a memorial. We can see all of the flowers sitting on the steps behind us. This is the reaction from the community that has come out here to show its level of support. And really, what I've noticed throughout the morning is there's been a sort of reverence to that area, those steps right there. I mean, this is a very busy section. You can hear the hum of cars going past as the morning is continued. And there are cameras, don't be mistaken, there are cameras lining the corner around here. But that area right there has been protected as to some semblance of giving some sort of peace and space to the people who want to come here to pay their respects. And so far we have seen a number of people coming out here. A few of them have been able to go inside the bank. However, the bank has placed security up on top of those steps since really early this morning to make sure that nobody is getting inside that's not allowed in there. But as I mentioned, those steps have been a place for people to be able to come and pay their respects and bring flowers or drop notes really serving as a memorial of sorts to honor the dead and the injured. In fact, just about an hour ago, our photojournalist and I, Nelson Reyes, we ran into a man who was bringing flowers from his floral shop, and he just decided that he wanted to do something, and so he laid a whole bunch of flowers on those steps just as a way of honoring and paying respect in his mind. We've also been able to speak with officials over at the Louisville Ballet who are right next door. They went into lockdown during that shooting yesterday. Officials there did tell us that many of their employees do business at Old National Bank, and what happened yesterday really does strike close to home for a lot of them.
One of our studios is all glass, and the window looks directly into the Old National space. And every time we pull in the parking lot, you know, we look directly to Old National, and so it will take a long time for our staff to heal from this, for our community to heal from this.
Now, officials with the ballet say that they will be bringing out a social worker to speak with employees about how to process all of this, and also laying out some of the resources that will be available to them. That'll be happening a little bit later on today. And as the chief executive there, Leslie Smart, just told you, I mean, this is going to be something that takes a long time for them to heal. It's going to take a long time for everyone here in Louisville to be able to heal. I mean, this is not going to be the end of the grieving or the healing process. For a lot of people, the healing process won't start for a number of days still. That's just the reality that we face here. But for a lot of people, being able to show some kind of respect and some reverence, as we've seen with this makeshift memorial happening out here at Old National Bank, that is the first step, and that's something that we expect to see more of as the day continues. For now, Brooke, I'll toss it back to you in studio.
Jim, thank you so much. Okay, we do have a lot more coming up with our Isaiah Kim Martinez and our Eric King, who are in that building right now at Metro Hall after just hearing all the details, still asking a couple of questions even after that news conference happened. We will come back with them in just a couple minutes. We'll see you then.